Good morning. So today I wanted to do a quick share of my cast iron cookware collection. And I use my cast iron every single day. I'll use all of my pieces except for just a couple of the legacy pieces that I have. But I have different brands, I have different ages, I have new, I have old, I have valuable, I have, ones that you can just go to the store and buy. There's really no rhyme or reason to my collection except for I like to go antiquing and find buried treasure. I have found a lot of these in old antique barns, and I really love to restore them. I love the whole restoration process and finding out exactly what I have found after I have removed the decades of seasoning and dirt and dust and rust off of them. And I just enjoy cooking in my cast iron. So it's a very rewarding process for me, finding the pieces, restoring the pieces, and using the pieces. So I just wanted to share this real quick with you all, just because I know there are a lot of antique cast iron enthusiasts out there, and cast iron cooking enthusiasts in general. And it's a big part of, one of the things that I like to do as a hobby, and cooking is a hobby of mine as well. So I just wanted to show you guys on my channel so that I can also look back at this and see, what I had at this point in time. So the first thing I'm going to go over is my older pieces that I don't use very often. And the first one is a piece I've never used. It is the Lodge Antique fish pan, and I found this at a Goodwill or a private thrift store, I don't remember, but it was $8. And these pans that are not made anymore. They're very valuable. Lodge has started what they call a legacy series, where each year they will put out one of the favorite items that they have come out with over the years, and sell them for a limited amount of time. So I have two pieces that they've done in this series so far, and my two pieces are originals. So this fish pan sells, I think, for $90 when they were releasing it on their website last year and the year before. And I'm pretty sure that they have stopped selling these again new. So this is the Lodge fish pan. The next one I'm going to show you is also one of the Lodge legacy items. This is the bunt pan, and this is an original. And this pan actually came from a very, very close friend of mine, their grandparents. And I had known these people my whole life. My grandparents had known, our grandparents had known each other for generations. And this grandmother that gave me this just became too heavy for her to deal with and bake her bunt pans anymore, so she gave it to me. And the Lodge, they made these back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, and also in the 50s and 60s, but they no longer make them. And for 2 years, Lodge did make these and sell them on their website in their legacy series, but they have discontinued that. So this is a pretty rare piece, especially for an original. I've never used that, and you'll see it's in a little bit rough condition. It's exactly how she gave it to me. I've not ever even seasoned it or used it. It's just been on my to-do list to do. But one of these days I am going to finish re-seasoning this and make a cake in it. One of my other older series is this Griswold biscuit pan, and I got this from the flea market for about $5, and it was all rusty, and I restored it, and I have made biscuits in it one time. I always forget that I have this pan when I make biscuits because I'm used to using my cast iron skillet. So I'll go over here and grab the two pans that I've been using today to show you. And this is a 12-inch Lodge lid that I picked up from the Lodge website just because I have a couple of the 12-inch Lodge skillets and I needed a lid for it. It does have the drip nodules on there to use with the pots and the roasters. And I use this with my my 12-inch cast iron. This happens to not be a Lodge. It is a 12-inch skillet, but it is the Camp Chef brand that I got for my birthday one year for my mom because I wanted a 12-inch grill pan. So this is what I got, but the Lodge 12-inch lid fits it almost perfectly, which you don't normally get that with different brands and different lids. So that is, I actually used that last night to make a spatchcock roasted chicken. And then the next one I'll show you, I actually been using this in my breakfast last couple days. I think this is a BSR skillet, but it is a very specific one that went to a specific stove. If you can see the stove lines on it, and it says number 5 8 and 1/8 inch skillet. And I just found this at the flea market. It was really rusty. I'd never seen these marks on the bottom, and it's an 8-inch skillet, and it is it's a really clean, slick old skillet that does really good. You can see I've been cooking eggs in it this morning. Haven't even washed it. I just put it in my oven, and that's what I do whenever I am using a pan. I'll usually go over to my rack, which I'll show you my rack real quick, and I will pick whatever pan is dusty, and I will wash it, and I will start cooking in it and seasoning it for a couple of days or a week, just to get it back into use. Let's see if I can. There we go. So this stand here, I actually found at an antique mall for $10, and that's what I keep my cast iron on, the rest of the pieces that I have, my pots and pans. So I just wanted to show you that. It's been very useful and helpful in storing these. Alright, let me go ahead and start at the top. So the next thing I have is a 9-inch skillet lid. It can also be used with the pot, but it's the Lodge, and I got this recently, like in the last couple years, from their website. And I got a set here. I've got a set of the 6 and 7-inch pans, and these I just got off Overstock. This is the first set of cast iron pans I ever bought, and it used to have another piece to it, an 8-inch piece that I no longer have. I don't know what happened to it, but they are unmarked, and they have the two, the ears on each side, and I have been using them for about 16 years now. They are really good everyday users. They have no markings on them, but I imagine that they're from Taiwan or from China, and they are just really good skillets, and I've been using them for a long time. This next one is one of my favorite pans that I have, and it is a 1-notch number 5 Lodge, and it is slick as glass, and it cooks so well. And I found this at the flea market, and I probably spent $5, no more, on this. And I want more 1-notch Lodge skillets, because those skillets, around that time when they were making them really well, really light and slick skillets. This next one is, I also got from the flea market. I think I paid $3 or $4 for it. It doesn't have any markings on it. It does have the heat ring here, but I imagine that this is a Taiwan pan. It's a 9-inch pan, and I like the size of it. At the time, I didn't have a 9-inch pan, and I really wanted, like the short handle on it and the heat rings, and this actually is a very comfortable skillet to use as far as the weight and size of it for me. And it is seasoned pretty well, and it's just an all-around nice skillet. Again, no name brand, but it is a decent cast iron skillet that'll last me, 100 years if I needed it to. This next one is another $5 flea market find. It is a antique hammered lodge griddle, and you can see the hammered detail on there. And this one is really old. This one's from the very early 1900s, and it's got the hammered handle on it as well. And this is just a really nice griddle to have. I have a large lodge griddle that covers 2 burners. It's not very old, but I'm reseasoning it right now. But that's the only pan skillet type of griddle that I have. And the next one that I'll show you is my lodge chicken fryer. So this is a 3-notch made in the USA lodge chicken fryer, probably from the 60s, and it has a little assist right here, and it's a deep skillet. It does have the heat ring like I just showed you with the 3 notches, and the lid, I actually purchased this off somebody from Facebook Marketplace for about 30 bucks. And the lid that I have that fits it, I don't know, this is just a lid that I acquired, but it has a star and a 162 and no other markings. You can tell it's really old. It does not have any drip things on it, which is good because I like frying stuff in this pan as well. But it fits the pan perfectly, and it works. So the next one I'm going to show you is a Wagner. This is my only Wagner, and it is the 11-inch square breakfast skillet, and it has the assist handle here, and it just says square skillet made in the USA on the back. I don't know if you can see that, but I picked this up at an antique store in my travels to down south. I work down south sometimes, and I saw I got through there early enough to stop at one of the antique stores in Ocala, I believe, and I found that guy, picked him up. So the next one is actually a new one that I got. I thrifted this from probably Goodwill, and it is an 8-inch Pioneer Woman, and it just has a neat little handle there that you can also hang. It has a good size assist right here, and I just thought it was a cute skillet. I only paid like $3 for it, so I went ahead and picked it up. It is, textured like the new lodges are on the bottom. I've only used this a couple of times after I seasoned it. And the next one I'm going to show you is my Birmingham Stove and Range Century Series. This is the 7-inch, this is the number 7. So it's around a 9 and something inch skillet, 9.5-inch skillet, somewhere in that range. But it is the Century Series, so they came out, Birmingham Stove and Range came out with the Red Mountain series in the earliest part of the beginning of 1900s, and then in the 40s and 50s they came out with the Century series when they were celebrating, their 50 around 1950s. And Birmingham Stove and Range, I have 2 of these number 7 skillets. I have a Red Mountain and I have a Century. This is my Century. This is one of the favorite pans in the house. My husband loves this pan the most. And it is, it's a very thick cast iron. It's not very light, but it cooks very well, and it is smooth as glass. So you don't have to worry about warping as much on that pan. and I want to get more Birmingham stove and range and more one-notch lodges. Those are my favorites of all the pieces that I have. And the next one is my 12-inch lodge, and this one's not very old. I mean, it might be from the early 2000s. I picked it up at an antique mall probably 10 years ago for $20. Back then, cast iron was actually more expensive than it is now. But this has been a go-to daily skillet for me for a long time. Everyone needs a 12-inch lodge, or a 12-inch skillet at least. So my next one is the Red Mountain Birmingham stove and range. And the funny thing about this one is it's a Birmingham stove and range, but it's lighter. And if you can hear that sound, it feels like it's a completely different metal than the Century Series one that I have over there, and it's a lot lighter and more hollow feeling. But it is the same. It's a number 7 as well. It says 10 and 1/8 inch. So this one is also one that I love to use every day. It is smooth as glass, and it's just a really good quality skillet. A good size for everyday use as well. And I keep saying everything's my favorite, but besides those 2 BSRs and that one-notch lodge, this is my lodge cast iron made in the USA chef skillet. And this one is something like 9 1/4, 9 1/2 inches. And it is these, you can see the rounded edges. This is the chef skillet. I use this for breakfast, sauteing my breakfast all the time. I'm not sure what year this is from. It has no notches in it. It could be from the 40s or the 30s. I'm not sure which one. But this is a very nice skillet. I picked this one up for $5 or $10, maybe $10 at the flea market. The next one is going to be my 10-inch lodge. So this one is a fairly new lodge skillet. I picked this one up at the flea market for $5 because my old 10-inch skillet, this is before I got the Birmingham skillets, but the old ones, my old one got damaged. My husband was trying to restore it, and it got damaged by being in vinegar too long. So I needed a cornbread pan, and I saw this for $5, so I went ahead and picked it up, and so it's just a new 10-inch lodge skillet. So this next one was my 5-year anniversary gift to my husband. 5 years means is an iron anniversary, so naturally I got him a iron skillet, but it is the 13.5 inch Wildlife series from Lodge, and I purchased it from the Lodge website. This was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. But it's the gobbler, which we usually grow turkeys every year for Thanksgiving on our farm or on our homestead. And so the gobblers have a little bit of significance to us. But this is the 13.5 inch skillet, and I've only used this one a couple of times. Just because it's so large, I don't generally break it out unless we're doing something for a crowd. And then the next one, we're almost done here. This is my 15-inch skillet, and it is just the Ozark Trail from the camping section at Walmart, 15-inch skillet. I picked this up. I needed to make cornbread for a family reunion, so I wanted a really big pan, and so I went and picked this up. It was very affordable. It's nothing fancy, but it is cast iron. It cooks great like cast iron. It does have the same texture as the new Lodges do, but it will last me 100 years, whether I spend a lot of money on it or not. And it is very useful for us, like when we are cooking for a crowd, which we do often. And then the last piece I'm going to show you is kind of dusty because it's been on the bottom shelf and we haven't used it, but it's an 8-quart Lodge roaster, and it has the bell on it so you can use it outside or hang it from a cooker. And it doesn't have anything on the bottom. It has 10-inch DO, made in the USA. So this is actually a piece that someone from my husband's job, he works as a firefighter as one of his jobs, and they gave that to him when he was restoring seasoning some pans at the station for me. They went home and got that. They had received it as a wedding gift many years ago and had set in their pantry, and they'd never used it. So that's how we acquired that. So that's all I got to show you for my cast iron collection, and hopefully it'll be growing again soon. I'm really in the mood to restore another piece right now, so I'm looking for some. I do have a few things on my wish list that I want to get, that I'm wanting to find out, when I'm searching around. One of them is I want to get the Griswold breakfast pan that has the bacon and egg sections out. I also want to get a wedge cornbread pan, and I think that's pretty much the two things that are on my list right now. And I also want to get an cast iron loaf pan or two for bread and meatloaf. So I'm still looking for those. I could go on Walmart or Lodge and buy one at any given time, but I'm kind of trying to keep a couple things back in my wish list to find out while I'm antique shopping. So hope you enjoyed looking at my cast iron collection, and I'll talk to you later.